Hello, welcome back. Sorry for the young break.
Yeah.
I was on holiday. Sometimes we have to holiday.
Atu.
Anyway, I'm joined by a useless Ghanaian. Ed, aka GhanaianGhost. What are you saying?
You're right. I'm good, man.
I was going to give you an intro, but we're kind of running kind of short on time.
Yeah,
and I don't actually care. So today we are talking about
the ganjas.
marijuana, as Naira Marley says.
I like the ganjas because
There's a million names for it. So should we legalize marijuana? So that'll probably make a decision at the end, but we'll probably go through the whole process. So we're going to be talking what weed is, how many people actually smoke it, where it's legal, where it's not, where is it actually legal, the legal market itself, the economies that have it currently legalized, any health arguments, and then we'll conclude whether we should legalize it or not. So I'll give it to you, Ed, as you're very much more experienced than me. What is weed?
weed is a plant, cannabis plant. It can have other uses, obviously, like all hemp and stuff is all part of that family, but it's something to do with the sex or the type of plant it is. It's cannabis. It is smoked on a usual basis, usually by rolling it, either in a bong or vaporizers, all that kind of stuff. All it does is it's a plant that gets you high, basically. I'm sure most people listening to this at some point have been around somebody that smokes weed or has smoked weed himself. It's quite common for people to do it. So
okay. So if I was to ask you, how many people in the UK have at least smoked some weed before? What would you say? How many millions, or hundreds of thousands, or tens of thousands, or hundreds?
I'd say millions, only because last time I checked, I believe they did a survey and about 30% of people have admitted to at least trying marijuana at some point in their life.
Well, almost there.
You got the statistics?
Yeah, I got the statistics.
You got the statistics.
31% of UK adults have taken a legal drug, which is about 50 million.
Yeah.
21% of those people, of that 31%, still take them now. But out of the 31%, 93% of those people have taken marijuana. So that's 14 million. Yeah, 14 million. So that's like London times 2.
Hugely common.
Yeah.
Only because I think that it's always been seen as the
less harmful drug.
Less harmful drug. It's something that you can do and like.
Have you smoked weed before?
Me, nah, never.
Okay.
I'm Ital. No, I'm playing. Yeah, no, I'd smoke. I used to smoke a lot more than I do now. Obviously, you know, from the beginning of the year, I cut down. I kind of stopped.
Did you?
And then I stopped for months.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I stopped for months.
Well, I actually don't really care, to be fair. So that's
it was actually like something we'll touch on later on, just simply because it costs a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah. Like, you lot are literally burning your money. But
that is exactly what it is.
I've never tried it, so I always have quite, reductionist views on it.
Yeah, no, we'll touch on that. But it's like, yeah, I did slow down a bit, but I have smoked for a long
Okay, so if I also ask you, what is the country in the world that has the highest percentage of users, what would you say?
Illegal and legal.
Just period.
South Africa, USA.
Okay. So USA are in the top like 10, but it's actually Canada.
Okay.
Mainly because it's very legal there. Then after, so this is the list. Canada 1, Papua New Guinea 2, Israel 3, Palau.
Did you say Israel?
Yeah.
Bro, them Jews be active.
Oh my God. Palau, I don't even know what it is 4. Northern Mauritian Islands 5. Ghana 6.
Yo.
2.
Yeah.
Guam 7. Iceland 8. United States 9. And Sierra Leone 10.
Okay.
Nigeria is actually in the top 20, so it's Italy, Andorra, New Zealand, and nobody cares. England is further down. Okay, so where is it legal, where is it not? So I've got like quite a few countries. I picked out 9, and there's different variations of legality. So in Canada, on October 17, 2018, Canada legalized recreational marijuana in full. Growers can get licensed by the federal government, so that's cool. US, depends on the state. We're going to talk about that in more detail. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the money side of it. Mexico, private personal use of recreational marijuana in amounts 5 grams or less is decriminalized. Is 5 grams a lot?
No.
So how much? What's he called them?
Financially? How many spliffs or how much financially?
No. How much? How many splits can you get in 5 grams?
Depending on how you smoke it, it's either 2, about 3, 4 maybe.
Okay.
Big ones, or maybe a little bit more if you smoke a little less.
Cool. Belize In late 2017, the government was kind enough to decriminalise cannabis for amounts up to 10 grams, which is double the size of Mexico. Jamaica, weed has been decriminalised since 2015. And if you happen to be Rastafari, you can use it in unlimited quantities, no repercussions. That's why you pretend that you're Rastafari, but you're not. Uruguay, another South American countries.
Yeah.
You just got to officially register with the government before you engage any buy-ins, selling or growing. So that's pretty decent. Netherlands, also known as Holland. It's been legal to smoke in coffee shops for decades. It's been illegal to grow, but in 2017, a bill to partially legalise marijuana cultivation showed that they go towards that stage. Spain, in 2017, Spain's famous smoking clubs, of which there are hundreds, became fully legalised in Catalonia. So there's pretty much no legal repercussions in Catalonia. And Switzerland, possession of small amounts has been decriminalised. So there's a lot of countries there. From the list, there's like 26, including places like Russia, North Korea, but there mainly seem to be countries in Southern America where it's decriminalised. And some places in Europe like Belgium and Croatia.
It's something that I think part of it is the fact that it's because it's everywhere, it's so hard to control.
Yeah.
A lot of countries are like, okay, cool, you know what, we're never going to beat this. We're not going to stamp it out. It's not something that has to be imported. It can be grown pretty much everywhere, inside, outside, wherever. So the best thing to do, regulate it.
Okay, cool. So that's a legal aspect. Let's talk about the more illegal aspect. So we'll talk in the street. So we'll give some data, a bit of data, then we'll talk about what happened. So in terms of number of cannabis possession punishments, there's about it's actually reduced quite rapidly from 2010 to 2017. Probably there's some legal reasons for this. In terms of 2017, about 40,000 people got cannabis warnings. About maybe like another 2,000 got penalty notice. In terms of prosecutions, about 10,000. Which compared to in 2010, the amount of people that got prosecuted was
significantly higher.
Yeah, 30,000. So a third of that.
It's again, they can't be bothered. You can't keep
the vast majority of police seizures are in the area of fewer than 5 grams, which is about £25 worth. Like that's why you seizing £25 worth of food.
Where are they selling 5 grams for 25? You got the link?
Is this camera on me?
Yo.
Yeah, so that's according to the BBC. Like, okay, cool.
But
and ethnicity in cannabis. So as of
I was surprised at this actually. I was quite surprised at the statistics of the ethnicities.
So if you look at the population, almost 90% of if this is on 2011 data, census, almost 90% of the population are white ethnicity. But if you look at the percentage of total drug stop and searches, it's 50%. So 90% of the population, but they get stopped 50% of the time. Interesting. And in terms of total cannabis prosecution, about 45%. Black ethnicity, about 3%, less than 5% essentially. The total stop and searches, they account for 20%.
Absolute mazine.
So, and in terms of total cannabis prosecutions, it's even slightly higher.
Yeah.
So if you look at the white ethnicity on the bar graph, it shows take up the most percentage of the population, considerably lower stop and searches, and even lower prosecutions. Whereas with black ethnicity, it goes opposite way, which is quite interesting. I wonder why. So,
well, we'll come back to that one on a different part.
Yeah, no one's there.
All
right, cool. So, on the streets, how easy is it to get
weed?
If you want to smoke some weeds,
it's pretty easy to be fair. You've got obviously people that are selling it. You've even got pop-up coffee shops, quite like Amsterdam now in London, all over the place.
I'm talking about here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about here.
You mean I think? Oh, you say pop coffee like Amsterdam? Oh, we said in Amsterdam. No.
Like with a phone call, you can usually get somebody or ask somebody, and somebody always has somebody's number. But now with these coffee shops, where places you just walk in and you ask them, they have a menu there. You say, I want some of that. It's usually a little bit more pricey, but there you go. It's that simple. It's really not hard at all.
And okay, cool. So, what is the quantities that consumers tend to purchase? So, I mean, people that are actually smoking the ganja.
So, it's changed now.
So, like the colloquial names, the actual weight, and the average price.
So, like I was saying, it's back in the day. It started off with a Benz, which is a tenth of an ounce. What it was weighed at used to be different. I'd go into all the details, but it's a myth. Now, rarely do you get Benzes or 10s because it's too small. It's because when it got reclassified, it got more expensive, obviously. But you can go to these cafes and it's usually about £10 a gram. So a Benz would now be, or a 10 bag would be a gram. Then you have eighths, £10. Then you can pick up an eighth, usually for about £20. And a 3.5, depending on what it is, can either range from 25 all the way up to like 90 if you're looking for expensive strains. So all the Cali ones and that.
3.5, yeah. How many splits can you get out of that?
Like I said, depending on how you smoke. Actually, you know what? Earlier on I said 5 grams would only give you 5 or 6. That's a myth. This will probably give you about 5 or 6, depending on how most people smoke when you're mixing it with tobacco and stuff. So it's not a madness. If you're not mixing it with any tobacco, then again, maybe 2, 3 decent sized ones. So, but that's it. And then obviously
that's like essentially £8 per spliff. You're paying
something along those lines, yeah. And then obviously, the more you get, the cheaper it gets. You could get for people that smoke a lot, you tend to buy a Q or a half an ounce or whatever.
And how much is a Q?
Depending who you're getting it from and what you're getting again.
Give us a range then, dumbass.
60-ish for a Q. And I don't really buy much bigger than a Q. That's probably the most I'd ever buy.
And how many just things can you get out of a Q?
A Q in essence is just a bit under 2, usually just a bit under 2 3/5.
So you're talking about
double whatever that is. In essence, what a Q is.
So I'm trying
7 grams.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out how many splits you get.
Again, if you're smoking normally, mixing it and stuff, I don't know.
About 10?
Yeah, in your teens. A bit more than that.
Okay.
13, 14 maybe.
But if you're just smoking it...
If you're doing it bareback and not adding much to it, then yeah, not as many, maybe 9, 10, depending on how you kind of smoke.
So again, roughly about £8.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you rough. It's weird. It depends on what you're smoking again, how much you add into it. So, but it is not cheap. Okay, it's something that can easily creep.
Now, from the other side of the market, so that's from the consumption. So for the people that are distributing the streets, feeding the streets, so what are the quantities? It's so mad we talk about something actually illegal, but it's still interesting. Especially, obviously, this is the day bags and boxes drop, so then I was there.
Word to blade.
Word to blade. So what are the quantities that people buy in?
Well, right at the top, I guess you got people that are buying boxes.
Bags and boxes for? Out on all digital. Why am I promoting Blade? I don't forget. He's actually the greatest. He's actually the greatest mixer ever.
But yeah, like you're buying boxes and stuff. There's people that are spending maybe 4, 5K, probably more, 5 to 6K on a box.
And what's that weight wise?
A kilo.
A kilo.
A big old box.
Okay.
And then coming back down, obviously, then you have people that are picking up and distributing or whatever, probably a couple ounces every now and then. You can probably pick up a decent Z of.
So Z is OZ.
An ounce.
So those people that listen to the Hippity Hops,
yeah,
or the Grimes. So now when they hear Z, they can I understand.
That's in that country. And if you go to America, they deal with pounds and stuff, and they will buy a couple pounds of whatever. I can't remember the exact conversion.
Yeah.
But
so go back. So Z's like what?
What it is, it's like 240-ish for any kind of decent-ish weed. It's something then, depending on what it is, if it's these imported Cali strains, which they call them now, they often tend to be a little bit more dearer, a little pricier. I could have seen us better. But yeah, let's say around 240, 200 to 240. So
like Cali strains are like the selfridges of the ganjas.
Yeah, it's in essence, now that you've got all these legal grows in America and they're creating all of these, they call them flavors. So the kind of more rarer or higher quality weeds that aren't grown in Johnny's backyard, or Johnny's room up here, that kind of stuff. So that's where it gets a little bit more pricey.
Okay, cool. Oh, interesting. So I'm just trying to do some mathematics. So on how?
So what are you trying to work out?
Like how much these
profit margin? You're making. So if you all three have to go, of course. If you break an ounce down, divide that by 3. Divide it by 4 will give you your quarters, and divide it by 8. Sorry, so what's 24 divided by 8? £30.
Yeah. How much you sell the 8 for?
Or if it's something decent, a lot of them will sell it for 35 or maybe 40, depending on where it is. In fact, they probably get it for less than 240. I'm capping. That would be a decent strain. Probably a lot less. Some people probably get it for, I'm sure, 180, 190 maybe, and then you're making a little bit of profit. There's not a huge profit margin in it.
So what's the profit margin? Give us some numericals.
It's going on like I sell drugs.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, so let's say you grab something for 240. What's that? Divide it by... Let me get my calculator out.
Divided by what?
Hold on, divide it by 28 into a gram.
Okay, I have to do mental arithmetic. But
No, exactly. That's what I thought about.
Divided by 8, I have to say, you're dummy.
It's all long. Where's my calculator gone? All right, so let's say you got it for 240. Divide that by 28. Times it by 28 like a dumbass. That works out about £8.50 per gram.
Okay.
And say you're selling it for £10 if it's a cheaper strain. Even at 240, then you're making £2 or £3 a gram, basically. So again, it's not a huge amount. And then if you times...
So the profit margin...
It's not big. They're probably getting a lot
the profit
less.
margin of weed is a lot less.
Yeah, if you're buying it in such small quantities, I don't think anyone would buy it at that small quantity. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I understand all of that to that level. But if you're buying it in larger quantities, you're obviously getting it a little bit cheaper and so on and so forth. But the actual profit margin in weed isn't all that much. Hence the reason most of the people that you see selling weed, unless they're selling huge amounts, don't look any different from me and you. It's the reality of it. It's just an income. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's the turnover is a lot quicker than a lot of things, I guess, because you're
so it's
a
more
lot quicker.
So like when I think of weed, I kind of compare it to, I mean, that the selling of the cultivating and selling of weed. I kind of it reminds me of, almost like fast fashion and like Primark, all those type of stores where it's just more you're looking at just sheer volume of sales than a very, very sick profit margin, if that makes sense. Because you may only get £2 per sale profit, but if you sell
enough of it over and over again,
then it's significant. Do you know what I mean?
So there's at the lower level, there's not really much profit there at all. It's become more expensive than what it was before. I guess since they classified it and moved it back from C up to B again, things got a little bit more pricier. But I wouldn't personally sell weed, put it that way.
All right, cool. So we referenced some of the places that have made it legal early in our pod, and then me and you reference America. And obviously America, there's 50-something states, but not every state is the same. Some states have legalized weed, so you're looking at Colorado, Washington, California, Nevada, Massachusetts, and Maine have decided to make marijuana consumption for recreational purposes legal. Florida, Arkansas, and North Dakota voted to allow medical marijuana. Arizona were like, nah, cuz. But so if you look at Colorado, is Seattle in Colorado?
No, Seattle is a different state. Colorado is actually no, it's not. It's nearby. I don't think it's in Colorado.
Because I know it's legal in Seattle. Because I just remember Zeke coming out of dispensary, and then everybody was like, "Oh my god!" But like, if you look
Seattle's Washington.
Washington. Okay, cool. So if you look at Colorado, I swear you even quote me some of the stats. Not fair.
Like so with Colorado, they just in tax alone. So obviously, I think one of the big things that affects economically and how this works is the fact that it can become a taxable product once it's legal. Colorado I think they taxed about $135 million in 2015.
Yep.
I'm not sure of what the most recent stats are. They've probably gone up.
Way up, yeah.
But if we're going back to 2015, that's what I saw. And generally in sales, it was just under $1 billion.
Yeah, $996 million in sale. So in that state alone, it's $1 billion industry.
Yep. Let alone, and that's in Colorado, let alone if you come to states like LA and things where now it's even obviously bigger. The lifestyle in LA, that kind of thing, the culture.
Yeah, all of California, you got San Fran, Oakland,
right,
LA. And for like comparison, California has a bigger economy and is bigger in size than the UK.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine, like I haven't got the stats for like California or something, but you can only imagine the kind of turnover that these companies are making. It's something that massive like people are investing huge amounts. You've got even some rappers and stuff who have started their own brand. Snoop. I think YG's invested in something recently. You got a couple of them that are all investing in it because it actually is something that is turning over huge amounts.
Yeah, so it's a growing industry. So sales in North America, so that's Canada and the United States, grew 30% from 6.7 billion in 2016.
Jesus Christ.
And it's projected to increase to 20 billion by 2021 from ArcView Market Research. That's literally 2 years. It's expected to be a $20 billion industry. And obviously, the more and more states that legalize it, obviously that number can project outwards. So there's a lot of cash dollars in this. Local research also supports this view. Colorado State University Institute of Cannabis Research recently found that the legal cannabis industry contributed more than 58 million to the local economy, primarily through taxes and other fees. And should marijuana become legal on the federal level, the benefits to the economy could be exceptional. The New Frontier report by the analytics company New Frontier suggests that a federally legal pot could generate an additional $131.8 billion in aggregate federal tax revenue by 2025.
No way.
That is a whopping amount of money. An extra, not the tax, this is not tax revenue, an extra $132 billion in 6 years.
So what you're saying is I need to sell drugs, just not here.
Okay. You should create a legal company in the legal state and sell drugs.
Yeah, yes. Of course. I said yes. Medical. Did you know actually randomly, just touch it, this is probably stepping away. Did you know that the UK are actually the largest growers of medical marijuana in the world?
No, I didn't know.
There you go. Can you imagine? Medical marijuana, they're the largest growers in the entire world, yet it's not legal here.
They're missing a trick financially.
They're making money off it, bro. Don't. We just aren't allowed to smoke it. They grow it and then import it. Export it.
I know, but you got a massive market here. So, some more statistics. RGC Economics and Marijuana Policy Group studied Nevada, the state of Nevada, and says legalizing recreational marijuana in the state could support over 41,000 jobs until 2024 and generate over almost $2 billion of labor income. The ICF study estimates at least 81,000 additional direct and indirect and induced jobs in California as a result of legalized marijuana sales. 82,000 people, directly or indirectly, have received additional jobs to this. And also projects an increase in total labor income by at least $3.5 billion.
Doesn't seem like a downside.
So the New Frontier report also suggested that predicting the impacts of federally legalized marijuana suggests the nationwide legalization could lead to an extra 1.1 million jobs nationally in 6 years' time.
That's incredible, you know.
It seems like a no-brainer.
It does.
In terms of finances.
In terms of finances, yeah. I think economically, it's going to have the same kind of effect as, you know, what cigarettes have to any country or alcohol. The use for it is so high and the ability to tax it, and I think that's the main thing for any economy. The fact that it's something that can be taxed, you're instantly bringing money that wasn't there before. It's not moving funds around. It's just money that wasn't there before.
And also, when you look at the job creation, it's not just, okay, cool, these people make a dispensary or whatever. It's the things growers, around it. So like you're gonna need to legalize. You're gonna need to legalize and regulate it. So this, I got it in the note down here. So when it involves legal cannabis, just forget the production and distribution. This might include software developers, financing service, construction companies, and lawyers, and many other different arguments. Different job opportunities.
It's actually crazy how many people it stretches again. Well, it reaches if they're doing it. So again, like if you look at it from that side of things, I think it's a complete no-brainer. And I think that's why so many of these states are starting to just say, you know what, let's do this. One is solving unemployment issues, which is probably a big burden to them anyway. Probably not in America because they proper do not care about unemployed people anyway.
but they get a job, you bitch.
But they ain't paying for nothing. They'll just cut off your water and be like, all right then.
There was there, like.
All right. But I think especially if they were to do something like that here, it would obviously, and there's people that sit on their bums and you go, do you want to work in a weed farm? Yeah, all right then.
Let's fucking have it. Let's fucking have it.
But yeah, I think it is definitely, it sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think we'll probably touch on some of the reasons.
Okay, so the health arguments. So do you want to go first or shall I go first? So as a...
I'd be biased. Actually, I wouldn't actually be that biased, to be fair, because I also can see the negatives of it.
Okay, do you want to go first or not go first?
Go first, go on.
Okay, cool.
Let me hear what you got to say.
So the NHS warns that regular use of cannabis can lead to dependency, similar to alcohol, and several mental health issues and psychosis. In 2017 to 18, almost 55,000 people were receiving support for cannabis use in England, making it the fourth most fourth most represented substance after opiates, crack cocaine.
Opiates.
I don't know why. I find the term crack cocaine flipping hilarious.
But why is it that have you seen, if it's the same thing that I saw, why did they link crack and opiates and then put opiates separately?
I don't know.
So is that the...
And every time I see crack, I think of the Stephen A. give videos like, Lamar Odom,
crack!
And he was smoking crack.
It's the other meme, you know, the one with the little doll that goes, is it crack you're smoking?
And he was on crack. Nah, bro, Stephen A. is a goat.
Bro, he has content for days.
Bro, Stephen A. literally has hours of 30-second
does he do it on purpose? I feel like he has a reaction for absolutely every situation in my life.
No, he can't do it on purpose.
All the time.
If he does it on purpose, no, it's impossible. It's just him.
He's too funny. He's
unreal, bro. He's unreal,
in fact, I need to find that video now. He's going to give me jokes.
Yeah, find that video. I'll keep on talking while I try to find that video. The effects of marijuana vary from person to person due to the effects. Okay, so those that may not know, a friend of the show, Dr. Lee, he's been on at least 3 times, 2 episodes on the NHS. So those people coming to my mentions arguing about the NHS to me a couple of weeks ago, check out our 2 podcasts. And another one in terms of the most efficient way to lose weight. So check him out. So I asked him some questions. What are the main health issues when it comes to smoking and marijuana? And here are his thoughts. So very objective and balanced person.
Yes.
Amy goes, the effects of marijuana vary from person to person, as do the effects of everything like smoking. Some people could smoke forever and are fine, and others get COPD, I don't know what that is, and lung cancer. So he said it just depends on the individual. So he goes, the main health issues are as following. 1, psychotic disorders, schizophrenia being one of many.
Yep.
These are disorders where you see and hear and feel things aren't there, the voices in your head, etc. Also the ones that have you believe things that are never happening and get paranoid. A lot can be triggered due to weed usage. Number 2, depression and mood disorders, low mood and emotional liability. 3, anxiety and panic disorders. Yep. 4, memory and cognitive issues, so decreased ability of the brains to compute. He's actually so scientific. Like, I can't even just freestyle over his words.
Wait, so this is actually him writing it?
Yes.
Hey, shout out Dr. Lee.
Bro, he's actually the greatest, bro. He's actually a robot. Memory and cognition issues. Decrease the ability of the brain's computational power and higher function, sometimes transiently or temporarily, but can have more lasting effects, particularly with high use in the developing brain. Number 5, addiction dependence. It's a myth you can get addicted to cannabis. It is possible with very, very heavy, prolonged use. You can have withdrawal effects trying to come off in these cases. So actually get addicted to cannabis itself, which you told me offline, that is like, it's not a myth. You get addicted to
the life. It's the effects of it in essence.
Yeah, fertility. Heavy cannabis, that ain't fitting you, but heavy cannabis can affect your fertility, quantity, and amount of sperm production.
It makes them strong, cause
fam, Steph Curry in this, bruv. Number 7, if as often is smoked with tobacco, you're still getting all the smoking risk cancers,
of course, yeah,
especially a lung disorder called COPD, increased risk of heart attack and stroke. As I said, the effects will vary person to person. A lot of these are with heavy and prolonged use, but it all depends on how lucky you are with all these links. And he said, I hope this helps. And it helped perfectly. Thank you.
Nah, like, I think everything that you said there I agree with. Being somebody that's smoked for a while,
yeah,
I can see myself that there's been certain effects of smoking weed. So some good, some bad. My memory and the cognitive one is probably the thing that stands out the most. After a long time, your memory still isn't as sharp as it used to be. And I can tell that even after periods where I've stopped smoking for months, like I said, I stopped in January. I said I wanted to see whether I could do it, or not even that I wanted to do it. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start a new year, cut all of that crap out. And I could see a difference in how sharp I was. You wake up, you're less groggy and all of that kind of stuff. Cardiovascularly, is that a word? Cardiovascularly? Yeah.
What is the word now?
Yeah, that one. Like, there were times when we've gone to play football and bro, in 5 minutes, I'm holding my chest. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm going to die. My chest is tighten up. All of that, again, probably not necessarily because of the marijuana, but in the UK, we tend to smoke marijuana mixed with tobacco.
Yeah.
So all of those things, you're still in essence taking in a lot of tobacco every time you're smoking. So all of those things I agree with. One that's probably a little bit more serious is the mental health aspect of it. And although it can aid certain parts of mental health, it's unfortunate because it's not regulated. A lot of people don't know what they're smoking.
You could be smoking the boogle, bro.
Like, just generally in weed, there's two main types. You've got indicas and you've got sativas. Sativas tend to be high.
Good song by the way, sativa. Anyway, continue.
All right then. But sativas tend to be higher in THCs a lot of the time.
What THCs?
So that is the chemical in marijuana that almost brings that euphoria, that buzz in the most simple way. I couldn't explain it any better than that. Whereas, and you got CBDs, which are the calming chemicals in marijuana. So it tends to find you can have sativas that are very high in THC and lower CBD levels. And a lot of those are what encourage stuff like psychosis and, well, not necessarily the sativa by itself, but the high THC levels. And the effects that they have on the body are different. So if somebody has anxiety, for example, you're smoking a weed that is high in CBD and very low in sativa, helps you calm down, it mellows you, and so on and so forth, which actually aids people with anxiety, or I think in certain places, epilepsy and things like that, where the body needs to almost calm itself down. The other way, on the flip side, where you're smoking a lot of these stuff with higher THC stuff, is what can cause issues. Now where people are trying to constantly grow this, they want to be able to say, oh, this weed is the loudest weed. They want it to be like heavy hitting. They're cultivating it in a way that the THC is almost at an unnaturally high level. When people are smoking all of these things, I know that there's certain strains of weed that I've smoked, and in the moment you do it, your heart starts going. And
later, rude boy.
And it's not because of anything, but it's like almost debate. It's what anxiety is built on. Your heartbeat's going, it's your body naturally saying, I'm not too sure about something. Your mind starts going and you're constantly thinking that, okay, cool, something's happening or all of those things is what, after, if you're doing that every day, you can imagine what the effect on somebody's body is.
Word.
And if you're predisposed to some of these issues, or you're somebody that already has some sort of anxiety disorder, or you have some sort of mood disorder, anything along those lines, you can see how that can potentially have a negative effect. On the flip side, when I was smoking, and I think when I had the conversation with you earlier on, and I spoke about how you become addicted to the effects of it, when I was going through a whole bunch of things, or whilst work was stressful, all of these things, I used to literally count down the moment till I could get home, chill, roll a spliff, and just smoke so I could relax. It wasn't necessarily that I was addicted to the weed itself, but knowing that was what would clear my mind for a couple of hours is what I became addicted to. In doing that, what did I end up doing? I smoke, I eat, I sleep. I'm not interacting with as many people. I'm not getting out as much. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing all of these things. And ultimately, that doesn't aid things like depression and things like that, because in essence, you're pulling yourself away from everyone and withdrawing. So you can see how it can become a downward spiral, where somebody now is spending all their time and all their money doing that, and they're not coming out, they're not getting the help, or they're not talking to anyone, and it's not helping anything at all. So again, I think that's another kind of part of their health.
Yeah, I agree completely. And in terms of individuals receiving substance and abuse helping by drug use, the most highest is alcohol, almost 50%, and opiates at just under 30%, opiates and crack, under 25%. Cannabis, 20%.
Let me see this one.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Who is on crack? Anyway, but yeah.
And if you look at A&E admissions due to cannabis, so in 2014 it was 20%, 20,000, and it's got higher, 30,000 in 2018. And under 19s is has stayed roughly the same.
It's a lot less.
Yeah, it's a lot less. Yeah, it's a lot less. So these are the certain health risks. So we've discussed what weed is. We've discussed where you can get it from legally and illegally, how much it costs, how much you can sell it for, how much money it can generate in terms of big business, in tax dollars, as well as just pure sales. We've discussed the health risks. So I think it's time to conclude. So when you first heard, should we legalize weed, what was your first thoughts? And then what are your thoughts like now? Now you've actually looked into it, you've had a discussion about it.
I was in two minds, and I'll just quickly summarize. I wanted them to legalize it because obviously I smoke weed. It's like I can go to a dispensary anywhere and get a variety. It's easier for me. I can do that.
Hello, Benson's Weed Cafe.
Yeah, dude, I might even open my own, I lie.
Is that a lie?
And so, welcome to Accra Weeds.
Accra Weeds.
Accra Weeds. But...
dude.
Yeah. Welcome to the place. Anyway, but I also had my reservations about it. Ultimately, when something is so easily available and readily available to people, there are going to be more people that maybe potentially become dependent on it. Because even if they may want to, sometimes they're scared of the repercussions of it or the fear of, I might get caught with it or I might whatever, so they don't do it. And they're never around it. If it's everywhere, the likelihood of you trying it is probably a little bit higher, and you never know when people might be predisposed to some of these things. It's also the fact that it sounds silly, but it takes business away from a lot of my people. So, when you have friends that do all of this stuff, and if they do legalize it, a company that can grow tons of it compared to my guy who has to buy, like I said already, there's not much profit margin in it.
Yeah.
He's buying his little small bits and chugging along. And
now
he has to come and deal with Accra Weeds. And, you know what I'm saying? That's buying tons and dealing with that. Was that
you? Yeah, Accra Weeds buying tons.
Again, me, it's not easy. And the streets of Kumasi and
Break Bread Part 3.
But don't watch that. Contain Boxes Part 5 coming out.
She's saying plants in a box.
So again, they can't compete with any of these people, and you've now then potentially taken them out of business, or unless they're trying to find jobs with these companies. But it's not fair. But it's not. That's not a real reason. It's just kind of something I feel personally about.
Yeah, that's your social reason.
But I think the main thing is, it needs to be, if it is regulated, it potentially becomes a little bit safer. People know what they're smoking. It's created by, in essence, scientists. So we can actually go and get things for what they need. So somebody who might have anxiety or might have epilepsy can get specific ones. So you know that it might actually help them, instead of them just going to their guy and saying, what have you got? He's selling you Ami and telling you, yeah. This is yellow star fruit bubble gum. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, what? New flavors, yeah? And you're buying it, and it's frying your brain when you get home. So all of these little things are the things that could be kind of cleaned up a little bit. And I think there is the benefit of it, and obviously the economic benefits of it. I think the only downside is potentially increased usage, the health issues, and also the social issue of that you're now taking it away from people that have been doing it for ages, who have been demonized or got criminal records for all of it, which fair enough, it was legal. But you're now going to take that away from them as well. And now...
Yeah, I always find it quite interesting how, especially in certain demographics, view drug dealers, they tend to view them as people that look like us, probably just like us as we're speaking right now. But they all take drugs.
This is it.
So
this is really it. It's even the whole weed thing, right? I always used to think, okay, yeah, rich people of that ilk used to only take cocaine and those type of drugs there because it's expensive drugs. Until one day I was talking about it randomly. You go to a work do. Everyone's had a few. I'm like, oh fuck, I need a spliff. Everyone's like, yeah, me too. I was like, what? You what? The most random old don that is in your office that you never expect is all there, and they're doing it. Or even if you go to some of these cafes, like I mentioned, they've got these new cafes. You'll go in there, and you don't smoke, so you probably won't ever find yourself in there. But it's actually one of the most lovely things to go into, only because there are people that look like me. there are people in their 40s and 50s, old white people, Asians, everyone just sat in the same place doing the same thing, and there's no drama. And you realise that how many different types of people use it and have been for years. So it's quite dope.
My personal take on it, before I wasn't too sure. So I've been looking at this debate over the years, innit? So I think I remember having debates with Dams.
Yeah.
And he was saying legalise it. Now the more and more I look at it, and the more I've seen, the more data I see, I'm just like, legalise it. First of all, you man actually don't care about it that much. One, in terms of the policing aspect.
Yes.
You actually don't care.
Not at all.
Secondly, the economical benefits are clear as day. The issues are obviously if you legalise it, you increase usage, and obviously I've told you 80,000 people. Was it 8,000? Let me just make sure. No, 30,000. Sorry, I'm just making stuff up. Went into A&E due to cannabis usage, what type of stuff. However, I've done some research, and some people say that criminalising cannabis is actually bad for people who are addicted because they're less likely to get their help and go in the things they need if they're already in the criminal justice system. But on the flip side, you can also say, well, if you legalise it, you can have more people addicted to it anyway. So I think it's a bit cheeky because alcohol, cigarettes are in the top 10 biggest killers of people in the UK. They're also drugs. Nicotine's a drug, alcohol's a drug.
They're significantly higher than marijuana deaths.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually can get addicted to alcohol and you can actually get addicted to cigarettes. You can't get addicted. So my personal view is legalise it, stop wasting police time, a lot of time, and just allow another industry to grow and flourish in the UK.
No, honestly, I agree. I think it's coming anyway. They've already, I think actually recently, they allowed for the first time certain uses of marijuana oils and stuff for people with epilepsy in this country.
We're quite rigid here, isn't it? So
yeah, it's going to take a little while. We
need to get the Conservatives out of here.
To be honest. But even...
Go like, hey, you man, hey, all that.
No, but even, who was it? Was it Michael Gove or someone recently that was saying we should legalise it? So even within those... And look, let's face it, ask all of those conservative dunnies, when you were at school and college, did you smoke a spliff? I'm almost certain that every single one of them...
and doing a magazine with pigs.
With pigs.
So,
no names and that.
No names. You know who you are. If you know, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully, if he hears this, shout out to you, cuz.
Yeah.
But...
Hey, sponsor the pod though, big man.
Yeah, I lie.
If you listen to this, sponsor the bug bed, man.
Yeah, come through.
I lie.
But
your ass, dog.
But yeah, so like it's something that I think it does need to happen,
Okay,
and I'm
cool.
all with it. Legalise that.
Okay, cool. So as we conclude, the most important thing of this podcast, you actually have your own podcast.
Yes,
I was a part of it until life got in the way, but I'm
It's all
basically a friend of the pod.
No, you're an honorary member.
Honorary member. I do miss the pod. It is called Tea and Touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
Which is the British take on the American game. Was that Ian's lyrics or yours?
Nah, he tried it. He came to add that. I'm like, bro, what's this for? So you know, he let it.
He loves it. The British take on the American game.
He let it stick because I haven't got time to fight with him.
So
He's very excited about it.
Yeah,
it's because I had my tea time tutorial one and he wanted to have something to compete.
Oh yeah, your tea time tutorial this lap. So for those who are interested in the NFL or want to be interested, I was one of you lot. I thought this was jazz. I went to America and my uncle literally said, my friend, shut up, you come and watch this game, I'm going to teach you. And I was like, this game is actually lit. The level of athleticism and just tactical awareness, and because there's only 16 games a season, all is on the line.
Every game counts.
So please follow Tea and Touchdowns. I'm going to let Ed talk about it, but this has got the DISUNOMICS stamp of approval. I was listening to it, what day? Was it Wednesday? What time did it drop?
We dropped it. It's usually Thursday night or Wednesday morning.
Okay, cool.
I mean Tuesday night or Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
so.
And it is so funny. It's featuring Felix, also known as Kaniki Jones, Ian Busmizan, and Ed GhanaianGhost. And it is so funny, but it's super informative. And when the agendas start flying, it is top quality entertainment. But yeah, Ed, give us the details where we can listen to it, why we should listen to it, and all that type of stuff.
Like, you know what, you covered most of it. All it is we're trying to bring, there's a gap in the market in the UK where it's obviously it's a new sport. Not many people know about it. We don't aim to only attract people that are interested in the sport. If you're new to it, listen to it for the comedic value, and you will also pick up bits of the game and
slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. Yeah, but we also have little tutorials that we try and do so that if you're new to the game, you can kind of pick up some of the rules and some of the concepts of the game and kind of inform you whilst you're watching it or after you've watched it. We're available on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, we're there. And on Twitter at TEAANDTDS, so T and TDs. So give us a follow. Obviously, listen to all of those.
I'll put the links in the description of the podcast, as well as description of the YouTube. Guys, please follow my YouTube channel. I sound like Andre and them man there. But big man thing, yeah.
YouTube, isn't it? Yeah.
I've hardly got any subscribers, but I've got no. You man are taking a mic. I can't like them numbers. I ain't really liking it. So make sure you subscribe. You know what I mean? I ain't paying for this video for you lot.
To not watch it. I actually watch it. I think I quite like the videos. You get to see people's reactions.
Exactly. So make sure you subscribe on my YouTube channel, like, comment. Even if you think it's trash, I actually don't care. Give me constructive feedback, or you could just cuss me. It's quite entertaining.
I'm about to make a burner account.
The podcast is also available on Spotify, so make sure you follow on Spotify. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, and you can follow on SoundCloud. I'm also on social media _nomics on Twitter. Use the hashtag DISUNOMICS, because bear if you listen now if you hashtag it, which makes me kind of sick. I don't want to see only my name on hashtag. So even if you think it's trash or you'll just listen to it, just let me feel nice, you get me? Also on Insta at DISUNOMICS Pod for all the pod info, all the pod updates. And I'm going to start posting news. So if you just want to...
So you're posting nudes?
News.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say raw.
Nah.
Man really wants these views.
Nah. Hey, big man. Hey, is this camera on me? No, yeah, so I want to start from Monday. I want to start posting news stories every day on Insta stories. Dope. I might do a couple Insta lives. I've never done that in my life. Actually, that's cap. Maybe I will do one day. And if you just want to like my drip at DISUNOMICS on Instagram, please get me. Until next time, peace.
Peace.